Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Excited to be here, Lumberjack Landlord. Not so much under the weather, but I don't have much of a week and a little bit rappy. And we'll go as long as the voice can hold on. We also got boot camp today, so super excited to be doing this with you guys today. But yeah, it was a big week. Lots of eviction stuff I'll talk to you guys about. Yeah, it was kind of a crazy week. It really was a crazy week. I'm very excited to report that uh, I think that probably closed the last auctions. As I told you guys probably a week ago, um, of evictions we were kind of working through. We do everything we can. We've been backwards trying to work with our tenants and really make sure that they can try and stay on. We really do everything we can to try and keep them. And at the end of the day, I can't want it more than they do. So we'll talk a little bit about that today, guys. For those of you who don't know, I am the Lumberjack Landlord. I'm seeing that we're having a little bit of connection issue, but it looks like that should hopefully work. But I'm have 137 units. And so hopefully it's easy like it might. And okay, are we good? I think we now have excellent connection. You guys let me know. I'll look for you guys in the chat for connection. It might just be the tornadoes. Yeah. We'll see if you guys, I think we might be okay now. But I'll keep an eye on it, do the best I can. Obviously, I'm not doing a whole lot real stream, but I think we're doing okay. So it says we have an excellent connection now, so we'll see. But yeah, guys, it's been a rough 8 weeks, 10 weeks. This is where it's hard to be a landlord. It's hard. There certainly is the human element, but I can't try harder than the people that are the tenant. I can't want it more than you. I can't be willing to do more for it. And so we had a lot of evictions. We had more evictions. I was talking to somebody at the court, and we've had more eviction postings in the last 90 days. 120 days. No, 90. We waited until after Christmas. So we've had more in the last 90 than we've had in the last 20 years. And that really comes down to a couple of things. It really comes down to the fact that there was the emergency rental assistance program that was pretty rough, that we wanted to help. So we jumped in. We started giving them units. We started doing it at a great price, the best that we could, because they wanted everything all included: heat, hot water, sewer, electrical. They wanted everything. And so they wanted everything included. And so we did that for them, in the interest of trying to make the program work the best that we could make the program work. But yeah, it was a little bit disheartening. It was a little bit challenging seeing how literally everybody on that program that we had helped get into a unit didn't have the first month's rent after the program ended. Not one. Zero. So we worked with everybody. I went to my attorney. I spent a bunch of money. I said, I need something that augments the lease that we can jointly agree to with the tenant, that basically says, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to agree to take less money We're going to have you put all the utilities in your name. We're going to agree to take substantially less money. And in order to do that, we want you guys to pay weekly because you clearly don't have it to pay all at once, all in a month. And so the challenge for that, or the idea there, was we thought we could keep a lot more people in their units. We knew that some people were working. We knew some people weren't. The people that weren't, we gave everybody 90, 60, 30-day notice. Hey, you're coming off your benefit's over. It's all done. There's no more benefit left. And so we told everybody, and we wanted to help them, because the whole idea of helping out the program was that we were going to get people into homes, give them that hand up, not hand out. It's only a handout if you did nothing with it. And sadly, too many people did nothing with it. So we spent a bunch of money with our attorney, augmented a lease. That way we were willing to work with everybody that had received cap on any level. We did that. And sadly, still so many of them disqualified themselves. We had tenants that wouldn't get jobs. We're like, you need to have a proof of income. And they're like, well, I'm still waiting on a voucher. No, you could be waiting another year. What are you doing? We told you 90 days ago. Like, why are you still not working? You need to be working. So anyway, that was a little bit difficult. That was more than a little bit of a nightmare. But thankfully, we are through it. We are through a lot of it. We have all of the eviction hearings this last week went pretty well. We told everybody, we said, listen, we're happy to have you stay. But you need to be prepared. You need to come to court. You need to understand what exactly we've talked about, all the postings. You need to be able to catch up partially on back rent. We'll make a plan, but you need to bring something to the table. And I can tell you, we told every single person that in the last 12 weeks, and only one did. One. That was my Wednesday hearing. We went, the judge said, can you work something out? And we said, we're going to certainly give it a try. For those of you who are doing evictions, you need to try to work with your tenants. You need to try. You have to try. I don't want to make people homeless. That's not the goal. The goal is to have them be renters that pay their bill so I can pay my bill. That's the purpose. So I can pay the contractors that they ask to go fix things. So when, there's a toilet problem or a heat problem or a whatever problem, that we have money, resources to then pay those folks to go out and do that work. And so we did that. And I apologize for you will hear the clatter of of cough drops, because that's the only way I'm going to make it through today. So we did that. And I respect them. They came to court. They owed about $6,000. They owed about $6,000 in back rent. They came to us and basically said, we have just under $4,000 that we can pay you right now today. We know that still leaves us with a balance. But let's work a plan to pay that off. And I had to ask, I said, so what happened? Why'd it go behind? Why'd you fall behind? And the answer was, we fell behind because we had some unexpected expenses. And I said, I'm sorry, but I have to ask, what were they? And she said her mom had passed away and that they needed money. They needed to help out with some money for the funeral. And I asked, why didn't you just let me know that 8 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago? She's like, well, I didn't want to use it as an excuse. I said, but we're using it as an excuse now. You just need to communicate. I think tenants need to be more honest with their landlords. Landlords need to do the same, but landlords need to look that you can't get blood from a stone. And if somebody's going through something, let's have a level of compassion. Let's work with each other. This is a team sport. And so we talked about it. She said, there was also a rent increase before you bought the building. And she's like, and we've really struggled since then. And I said, okay. And I bought it from a landlord that's kind of how he gets rid of people, is he raises rents to really high prices. I don't like the practice. I just don't think it's the right way to do things. I get that you can accomplish things that way, but it's just not how I want to do it. And so we had a long conversation there in the room, and they were grateful. They were grateful that we were willing to work with them. Of course, I was willing to work with them. You just can't stay for free. And I need to know what the plan is. They had good enough income. They had good enough credit to stay. And that's an investment that I want to make in people, because I would hope that if the shoe was on the other foot, that somebody else would give me the chance, knowing that I had paid steadily. I had gotten their rental records. They had paid steadily for quite some time. And then with that newest increase, that went kind of sideways. And so that eviction hearing went exactly how I hoped every hearing would ever go, which was they came prepared. They came prepared to work something out. They knew that they needed to pay. They came prepared with something and been saving something, not blowing it on all these other silly things. And we were able to work something out. And the key for this is that we're going to get them out of that unit, which is a more expensive unit, and we're going to get them into a less expensive unit, one that's more affordable for them. And they said, so long as it's in one of these two towns, we're good. So long as it's not in a, bad area, which there's only really a few streets that are kind of a bad area. They said, so long as it's not a bad area, we're all in. We need a place to stay. The value of having this conversation with them slightly beforehand and basically putting them on notice that we're going to throw you out. It's an eviction. They went and they looked and they looked and they looked and they looked, and they spent 3 weekends going and looking at units that they kept on getting none of. They said, we didn't want to leave. We just had to, because we can't afford the rent where it is. I said, I completely understand. Because you can't afford the rent where it is, let's look at something that is affordable. And I saw that you paid your rent for the longest time. It's just out of budget for you now. So we worked something out, and I'm very happy to say that they'll be leaving this unit at the end of the month because it's a more expensive unit. And they're going to be moving into another unit, and I expect that I'm going to have them as tenants for years. But more importantly, there's an attitude of gratitude. I was thankful to them that they came prepared and ready to have a conversation. They were grateful to me that I was willing to listen and willing to work with them, because that's what this is. We need to operate our businesses with at least some level of compassion. We can't go out of business. I will always be the one that ends up on the shorter end of the stick, but we need to work with our tenants, especially when something life happens. We need to work with people. So I was thrilled that we got out of that with they're moving to another unit. It's a less expensive unit that they know they can keep up with. They're going to pay their back balance. We got stopped on the way out the courtroom by somebody that's in the courtroom on a kind of a regular basis, and said, it was really awesome that you tried to work something out with them. I was like, why wouldn't we? Guys, compassion, operate your business. Yes. Communicate the needs. Try not to get frustrated. Try to communicate them clearly. If people come to you with respect, with a level of understanding that we're in this together, you got to try and work with them. You do. At the end of the day, this is a people business. And so we have all the processes and pieces in place to run our business really well. However, there's sometimes, because we're all humans, there's the human element, and we need to be willing to work with our tenants. So what I would encourage you is, if you have a tenant that you're struggling with, try and reach out to them, try and give them perspective. If they still want to be combative at that point, I get it. I had some of those. That was Thursdays. Thursdays was, she's an extremely combative tenant. She's been a nightmare since the day she moved in. She doesn't want to pay. She told me she was going to give me her tax return, didn't give me her tax return, didn't give me a dime of her tax return, and then was a no-show on her court date. So I'm excited to evict her and put an eviction on her record and then sue her in small claims court. And yeah, I'm excited to do that one, because you DQ'd. You didn't do your part. You didn't live up to your end of the deal. You didn't follow through on your contract. So that's the contrasting sides of an eviction. I got to be honest. It's been a lot of work over the last 12 weeks. It's been a lot of activity in the last 8, having to be there for all of those appearances. But I'm excited because we're basically down to a couple of lockouts where people made the decision that they didn't want to participate in the solution any longer. And if you don't want to participate, then go find someone else's solution. And then lastly, as you become a more successful landlord, what's really important, you guys have to do the right thing. And the right thing isn't letting people stay that don't pay, but you have to follow through. You have to follow through when you're a more successful landlord and you have more units because you can afford to. And that newer landlord that might only have 1, 2, 3, 4 units, they can't afford the hit. Frankly, these guys have cost me, all of these evictions have cost me tens of thousands of dollars when it comes to, I'm going to have to rehab I'm going to have to update the unit, maybe not fully rehab it, but I'm going to have to update the unit. I'm going to have to change some things out. Court time, posting fees, court costs. It's going to cost me tens of thousands with all of these evictions. That being said, I'm excited to put the eviction on their record. I'm excited to sue them in small claims court because they made the choice to not participate and live up to their end of the deal. For the 2 tenants we were able to work something out with, I'm thrilled to still have them. I'm glad that we found a solution in place, and I respect them, the way that they handled their business. They could have done it a little bit differently, but no one's perfect, but they could have done it a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, I respect them. They handled their business and we're working together on solutions. So I would encourage you guys, as I said in that last step, try and work with your tenants. Don't be stupid. File papers, follow the process. That way, if for some reason they continue to be difficult, then it's just academic. But when you get to be a bigger landlord, you owe it to the people behind you, coming in behind you. You owe it to them to follow through, get evictions done, make sure that they happen, because that could save that next person that's doing the proper background checks and reviewing people and reviewing tenants. That could be the difference between tens of thousands of dollars and them being able to make it through. It's always the landlord's responsibility, the guys that have been in the game longer, for them to do their part, make sure they're following the process, setting a good example for other tenants or other landlords, so they don't make sure that they don't get a bad tenant. So I've said all I needed to say about that. It's been